To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Alright, got a nice little cozy interior boxy house and more of these people. Well, my goodness, I'm glad as heck that you showed up. Thought I might have to clean this entire house all by myself. Right, miserable that would have been. Everyone knows how lonesome hands make lousy homes.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Could you clear the table? Yeah, clear the table. Much nicer. That's the table I wanted to see. Bedroom, main bed, this bedroom. Master bedroom, bathroom, bedroom. Straighten up the rug. That's not sure, it's been a long time since I've seen a house this messy. This line of work, let go of these judgments pretty fast. Maybe not your apartment, but something in your life needs straightening up. You've got nothing that needs cleaning. Be careful because that means it's everything. At any rate, my place is just a bit of peace brought here. Speaking of which, the pillow on the couch are right. Would you come out and straighten them up? See, is that my job here? Oh dear, looks like someone spilled a drink over by the couch. I wonder who did that. Probably you. I feel compelled to share. Yeah, make it especially cheesy. Dot dot dot. Ellipses, ellipses. Ha ha ha. Very cheesy. No. No, stupid. Sorry. Never mind. No, come on. Hey, these need to be washed. Why would you come do that? The tub needed to clean. How about you scrub it down best as you can? Are there books you scatter all over the bedroom? If so, would you put them on the shelf? Oh, I did a lot of cleaning. Crap. Perfect. Clear this. I already cleaned them off the table.
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
The president wants you to spend at the rug of the bedroom. Believe it or not, trust me on this.
I know that Coda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time, just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
It's a lot like one soul. You take care of it and it takes care of you. Don't know why I felt so weird about saying that. There's a bit of truth in it now. Ellipses. Anyway, so housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. Books, would you please clean up the books? Thank you.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
Question. Answer.
But, of course, it can't last.
Okay.
The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Very good point. I feel like there's a lot deeper meaning to all these games, and he's just like going through a lot of hard times, and like this is his way of coping. Even if they're not happy games. I didn't have to do the puzzle, but I've reached the destination.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it. This one gets a bit goofy.
You were in class. Why did you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Was it to make your relationships more meaningful? No. You came here to be perfect, just like SpongeBob. The workshop. Oh, okay. Change spots. How to be perfect. I want your friends. The people in your life look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human being than I am right now. Who do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you know is so well developed as a person that they make you feel disgusted with yourself, compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful? I intend to make you into that person. Okay. Perfection is within your grasp. No one else is in here. And the question is not how I do it, but we do it effortlessly. This is easy. It is so easy. It is so easy.
About halfway through the game, the
Being
perspective
perfect
shifts.
is effortless. Ooh. Hello. How do I achieve with no effort?
And you play as the teacher.
Right.
And suddenly,
Say right
you
now,
discover
it is
that your
because I didn't
teacher is
answer
just
that
as
answer.
bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Aha. Can I go up there? No, I can't. Okay. If you are torturing yourself, you find the right solutions in your life, you're not doing it right. Seek out the only one thing. What is the easiest, simplest path forward? There is no path. There is no truth. There is no path. Could I choose these? What if I'm not a good teacher? Holy shit. Everyone, run.
I felt pretty hard for this one.
Perfection.
I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days.
I like that galaxy looking thing. It was cool. Alright, next year.
This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Un momento, alright. Texting parents is always fun. Alright. Stage. This reminds me of something like the Stanley Parable, but it like wasn't. Oh. I know what this is. I like the sound of the wood. Jesus Christ. Okay. Places, please. Am I performing? I don't know what I'm doing. Performance is beginning. Places, please. In this scene, you'll be playing as me. We are gathering of professionals. First, you need to start leaning against the wall. I'm assuming I need to go. Oh, the wall. Good. Stay right there. The woman across the room in this chair is a professional photographer of animals. Hello. Is your dream to photograph animals professionally? This is your one chance to learn something from her to gain. Go on, say something to her. Sup, bitch? Hello. Hello? That's it? Anyone ask for? That's not a conversation. Oh, that's the only option I really had. You need to converse with her, be a human being. Do it again. Here are all my hopes and dreams. No, 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 that's not what I said to her at all. You're completely missing the tone of the conversation. It was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason, it was just at one moment, or just that one moment, but I was confident. Maybe it's all you need. Maybe it's that you need a better feel of the setting. There were a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props to work with. These cones that bounce when you touch them will represent the people nearby. Now talk to her again. You want Sacrifices. Did you have to... Oh, there are people. Okay. I like this. Everything was riding on this. I'm gonna try something. Try stepping back from this. Oh, there's the lamppost. How far am I going? I'm in a cage. Ah, no. Alright, guess I'm going back. Okay, yes, this is what I
The game
like.
ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
Dang, Coda. June 2010, my birthday. Mobus, to play this game, probably you must keep your eyes closed. Kick to begin the game. I'm not keeping my eyes closed. Help, I'm alive. Run it! Please, someone know how to solve this. I'm blind. Oh, that was me. Oh, it's a door. A puzzle door. Ah! Okay. What's going on? Maybe if I don't do anything.
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't
Oh.
already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
What am I supposed to do? I don't know, man. The whisper. How do I get up there? Ah. Speaks to my thoughts. I can't kill these. That's the truth. No, why?
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way. His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
So he's taking more time to do it, but like they're getting deeper and like, I don't know. I feel bad for him. Where am I? Oh, hello, green grass. Hello, is anybody out there? Oh, right. Is that a person? How lovely. Sounds like Zelda. It's been a long time since I talked to anyone. What's wrong with you? You look lost. I am lost, mate. When I create, I feel empty. Oh no. What happened? Did something change? There was a machine that kept me going and it stopped. There's a machine? It's you. Wait, you're looking for a machine? I think I know where it is. It isn't far. Well, tell me. I don't even know why it stopped.
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for? Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on. You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
Hey, it's me and you.
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering. This is someone I really cared about, and I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
All gasping for air is just like he has nothing left.
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop. But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
He needs some help. He was like, dude, stop like putting the games in and just like go get him help. He's depressed, he's anxious. Ma'am, glad to see if you arrived safely. We captured the machine, it's waiting for you. You can begin the interrogation. I intend to be brutal. Very good. Just be warned that someone called the person you might have an attention, bit of attention on this one. Also, he calls itself Coda. There's no. These random people. It's the literal machine.
And of course, it's the machine.
The work was keeping us alive. It was only because of your creation that any of us could make it through the day, every day, through every day. I've been so alone. Apologize for leaving you. You can't force someone to say sorry. I know how to hurt you. Think carefully after we hurt you. I will apologize to people on your behalf. I'm in a different place. Followers, you're not my friends. Follows me to deliver bad news. The machine will not apologize to us. We will find a way to live without it. We do not need its games. Oh, that's retribution. No, I've trained, but I pressed no, that's fine. Follow me, we'll destroy the machine. We'll destroy we'll destroy all the games, not Coda. Destroy what he's created, not him. He doesn't deserve that. Now we're back to the stage. And there's no door. Now I have a gun. Uh-oh. Destroying it. Coda doesn't want it anymore. All his hard work is gone. This is like really dark. I feel very bad.
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
That's not how it works. You just can't talk to people without it. You have to like get help. Like mental help. He's trying. Okay.
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Back to the machine.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something... I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy.
So you don't want other people saying that?
So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made.
No.
So let's take a look.
You already know what it is. June 2011. The Tower. Back to the orange blocky stuff. Okay, didn't matter which
And
one.
this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, The Tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
Very correct. Feels like a prison. Not that all the other games are about prisons, but just...
This room actually has a maze in it.
Oh, okay.
Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
Okay, I'm gonna get like a seizure for that or something. It would take forever to realize like how that actually works.
And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze? The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
How we were ever supposed to guess that number? That's the thing. Like we were probably weren't supposed to get past the maze. Not alone get to that. Now, okay.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem.
It's not a problem to fix.
But I can open this door for you, so let me do that.
Changing all of his games, like...
Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is.
It's really depressing.
It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
Does he do it because he knows you're going to change his games anyway? He puts things
I just
that
felt
he
so
knows you're gonna
strongly
change.
that if I could have connected with
doesn't
him,
matter.
that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I
How far
needed
am I
to
gonna
see
go up?
myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed. Where did I screw up?
Dear Davey, thank you for my interest in my games.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I?
Oh.
It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you.
Oh. Dear Davey, thank you for your interest in my games. I need to ask you not to speak to me anymore.
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
I wonder at times whether you think I was making these games for you. But you weren't. You were making them for yourself. You've so infected my personal space that it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work somehow hidden between games.
And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
If there was an answer and meaning, would it make you any happier? Would you stop taking my games and showing them to other people against my wishes, giving them something that is not yours to give, violating the one boundary that keeps me safe? Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts to them? He didn't even put the lampposts there. It was Davey all along. He wanted meaning to his games.
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
Would you simply let them be what they are? When I am around you, I feel physically ill. You desperately need something and I cannot give it to you. I literally do not have it. Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just a part of the process. The fact that you think I am frustrated or broken says more about you than about me. I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet, which is fine, you're not my problem to solve. But I hope one day that it clicks and that you make peace with this thing you are wrestling.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
And when you finally see what I am talking about, don't say anything.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
That's really sad. Oh. He's so unhappy with himself that Coda, trying to fix Coda, made him okay. But Coda wasn't the problem. Davy was the problem.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
I can't imagine what Coda's going through, or what Davy's going through, like, playing this. Like,
Solution.
his heart has to be broken.
Solution.
It has to be. There's no way he feels, like, at fault for all of this happening.
I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons. Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
They won't hate you. We all have our problems. Where am I? It feels really enclosed. Like I'm just about to be like trapped alive, like in some kind of like dumpster.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
That's a problem. I think you have deeper issues in this game. Like, there's something's wrong.
What now? think I need to go.
You're the
And
narrator of this game. What do you mean?
I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna... Okay.
Poor Davy. I want to know who Coda is, though. That's my thing. Boop. Oh, an elevator. Come on. Yeah, I can sprint. And jump. No, nothing. Just gotta sit here and wait for the elevator. Can I jump now? Almost. There we go. God, I'm so impatient. Are you back at the train station? Feels like we're back at the train station. Marble stairs. Oh, is that the thing at the beginning, like the first game of Whisper or whatever? Like that little thing you had to throw yourself into to kill yourself. Then you just floated off into space. We'll get there one day. Ready for a nap. I'm pretty sure it is. Not like I can see it because it's so fucking bright. But it is. I'm gonna whoop. I didn't die. Floating again. He didn't change it. Now what? Okay, now we're back to this. Holy crap. This would be never. Oh my god. There's so much maze.
Turn back from this cave.
For R. Who's R?
You said, let me prove that I'm brave. Let me keep
Ryan Roth.
going.
Is that who it is?
But the cave goes for miles and miles and miles. And you're so tired. But I know that
I guess that's it. Well, that was very dark. Kinda took an unexpected turn. Kinda thought Coda was the one with the problems, but I guess that was the way David was making it look. But very interesting. I say if someone needs help, get them help. If you need help, get yourself help. Self-love comes for helping others. So I hope you guys like Beginner's Guide, and make sure to like and subscribe to my future videos. And then I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.